welcome back. And as we earlier said, we were going to be talking about the facilitations and the efforts spared by Egypt to bring together the different countries of Africa into a whole entity and consolidate these efforts to bring a better future for the vision of 2030. Minister of Communication Information Technology Amr Talat said the establishment of an Egyptian African training center in the telecommunication field is meant to consolidate Egypt's policy of cooperation with its brotherly African countries via serious projects that serves the interests of the continent's peoples. And from that domain, the idea of establishing training courses for different African youth came, and on this very important topic we're very delighted to be joined here by Mr. Ibrahim Jibril, and he is Nigerian Youth Ambassador and also Secretary of the International Affairs African Students Union in Egypt. Good morning, Mr. Jibril.
Good morning.
How are
it
you
is
doing?
A great honor and pleasure to be here.
The pleasure is ours, of course.
Yes.
And let us first talk about the importance of those training programs provided by Egypt to the African youth. Of course, as we all know, that President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, ever since he attained the chairmanship, or Egypt have attained the chairmanship earlier of the African Union, very decisive goals for the sustainable development was set. Yes. And President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi have been talking first and foremost about the vision of 2030.
Yes.
And from this point, Egypt have started to set all its efforts to bring the brotherly countries of Africa together.
Yes.
How do you see the importance of training African youth here in Egypt?
Well, as you said, how can I see the importance of training with African youth? Of course, before I talk about His Excellency Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, I should have to talk on the Egypt in general. If you look at the Egyptian country in general, it has all the capabilities to run Africa within 2030. Because if we look at how massive Egypt is building its massive projects, infrastructures everywhere Egypt has been building. So Egypt has all the capabilities to deal not only Africa, even the Middle East within 2030. Africa, if we look at the Egypt specifically, it is one of the most strategic places in Africa, because Egyptian country, it is one of the most important countries in Africa. It is bordering the 3 continents. Africa itself, it is bordering Europe, it is bordering Asia. Well, concerning the issue of the training African youth, as we always see, Egyptian ministries and the president specifically are doing their best in order to train African youth. Specifically, Ministry of Youth and Sport. Whenever I see how massive Ministry of Youth and Sport are doing their activities, this really impresses we as the African youth. That is why I like this minister, His Excellency Mr. Ashraf Sobhi, because whenever we go to a specific program, you see him, Mr. Ashraf Sobhi. More particularly the previous years, within 2019, when the African Cup of Nations was held in Egypt, Cup of Nations. So, we feel like Egypt, it is our second country, because all the training is generalizing all African youth, not specifying only Egyptians. Every training we are running here in Egypt, they include us as foreigners. So whenever we go to many places, we feel like this is our country, Egypt, because we are always getting training, natural resources, infrastructure, management, and computer, and many more in training African youth. So, of course, Egypt is doing her best in general. Yeah.
Right. Due to the rapid changes of the pandemics and the economic crisis undergoing the whole world, and the conflict of interest and the common interest also at the same time, the world has become one small place, and the challenges are becoming common between neighborly countries. And that's why also the vision for 2030 are becoming common for brotherly African countries. What do you see common between Nigeria and Egypt and other African countries that we have to work hardly on to achieve for 2030?
Well, it is good that you specify Nigeria and Egypt, because when you look at Africa in general, the most strategic countries with Africa is Nigeria and Egypt. Because Nigeria and Egypt, our relationship had already been for many long time, since the period of Jamal Abdel Nasser, the former president of Egypt. Nigeria and Egypt had made an agreement, a brotherhood agreement. So if you look at the western part of Africa, you would see that Nigeria is the country who is holding the regime, while here, northern part of Africa, Egypt is one of the most the biggest country in the region, because it has a strong army and it has a good infrastructure, and also it has all the capability to help the country. So in order to make Africa great, according to my opinion, Nigeria and Egypt must have to work together as one hand. Not only Nigeria and Egypt, even another big countries like West Africa, South Africa. Although this Ethiopia, I know that there are some political crises between Egypt and Ethiopia nowadays, but they have to work together in order to make Africa great. But specifically Nigeria and Egypt, because very similar to each other with in having the capabilities. So we have to work together in order to make Africa great. Even in the period of the pandemic, as you said, Egypt has done all the necessary to deal with this period, because Egypt is one of the most, the first countries that use everything digital. Even our last semester, we conclude our classes online. So Egypt is doing great in digitalizing Africa, because Africa needs to be digitalized, because this can make us and give us an access to communicate easily between Africans. But the best way for reaching our goals, I think, is to make a free visa between Nigeria and Egypt. Or even not a free visa, we have to make it easier,
To transfer from
yes, for transportation. Because now the visa is very hard. If someone is trying to get a visa from Nigeria to Egypt, or from Egypt to Nigeria, he will have to do a long process in order to make this visa. So even if we are not about to make a free visa, we have to make it easier, so that this can transform a brotherhood, mutual relationship between the both Egyptian and Nigerian youth. This is my opinion towards the matter.
Right. Just one little thing about that gesture about Ethiopia and Egypt political crisis. It's not a political conflict, but it is a violation of historical rights, water rights, that was violated by Ethiopia against Egypt, because Egypt have and other upstream countries have historical rights in waters, and Ethiopia have violated those historical rights according to the law. So, and why we are saying that? Because there are priorities, and there are very important on top of the goals of sustainable development is water scarcity and climate change and fighting poverty and education and health, and all would just pour into one bowl at the end. Water scarcity is one of the most serious problems.
Of course.
If Ethiopia continues to do that, then it is affecting harm on all the African countries, and not only on Egypt. But mentioning the common goals of, and the most important goals of the sustainable development, and Egypt facilitating programs to be able to train and qualify, empower and enforce the African youth, together with the Egyptian youth, and never, of course, forget the APLNP, which is the African presidential leadership program.
Sure.
What mostly do you think have come to the benefit of the African youth from all these programs?
Well, before I talk about the programs, you said I should have to talk about these political changes between Egypt and Ethiopia. According to my opinion, the issue is easy. I mean, you will have to make an agreement between Egypt and Ethiopia. If you fail in making agreement, then you have to negotiate. If you fail in making negotiation, then I think you would have to look where the problems are coming from. I think this political crisis between Egypt and Ethiopia is not because of only water. I think it has a historical impact, as you claimed. It has a historical impact. But what I have been saying is Ethiopia has no any legal right to the water. Why? Because this water belongs to all of the Nile countries.
Of course.
Not only Ethiopia. So,
and if we are about to, if we talk about historical relations were at their best by Nasser's time.
Yes.
And we all remember
Yes.
the Ethiopian leader who came over to take blessings from the Egyptian church
Yes.
by, in the 60s by Nasser's time. So if you talk about historical relationships, it was perfect. Only because of wrong management from the Ethiopian leadership, not wise, not smart, that is affecting these differences. But why don't we go back to the idea of empowering the youth, which is something that is really very important to set a foundation for 2030.
That is exactly my point.
Right.
The point I want to say, empowering youth. When we talk about youth empowerment, as I said earlier, Egypt is doing her best in improving youth. But we have something to add. If we are talking about youth empowerment or youth improvement, always we learn in the university, youth empowerment. We need youth to be empowered. But if we look at the matter in the reality, where is the role of the youth in African continent? We are always talking about youth. Our politicians have been all talking about youth. Yes, we are the youth. We are the youth. We are the one who is making them on the power, our leaders. But if you look at the African presidents, all of them, I am trying to generalize, they are above 60s, 70s, some of them more than 80s. Where are the youth? Where is the role of youth? So it is not necessary for the country to be governed by youth or young people. But the government should have at least included youth in exercising power. But you can see this is an African country. The president of the country is above 60, 70 or 80. His ministers, all of them are above 70s. His advisors and all of the cabinets are above, 70s. Where are the youth? Where are the youth? But when always the leaders come, they try to tell them that we are working in order to make youth great. Yes, they are trying their best, but they have to work harder. They have to specify at least some vacancies in the government for the youth. For example, according to my opinion, each African government should have to specify some chairs. This will be led by youth. For example, 30 or 25%. Because this is the only way can let the youth to know how to govern the country in the future. And specifically Africa within 2030, according to the vision, international vision, not only African vision, Africa could be a center of commerce within 2030. And of course, Egypt is doing her best in making this progress. As we see everywhere, Egypt is building the infrastructures. It's trying to make a mutual relationship between the country and the entire African countries, okay? So I am not specifying a specific country. I am generalizing the whole continent, Africa. They should have to make youth empower. not all of the power, but at least each country should help to give the youth like 20% of ministers and the other cabinet advisors. So, to be frank, youth of nowadays are the problem of youth of nowadays. Yeah, I know we are the problem of ourselves, but the government should have to deal with such problem. Of course, the government have all the capabilities to make changes. This is what I would like to share concerning the youth matter.
On this very optimistic note, Mr. Ibrahim Jibril, you are a Nigerian Youth Ambassador. You're also Secretary of the International Affairs African Students Union in Egypt. I'd like to thank you so much.
Thank
and
you so
have a
much.
beautiful day. All the best of luck to you.
Thank you so
for
much.
coming.
It is a great honor and pleasure to be here, as I said, of course.
Thank
This
you
is
so
Egypt, our second country.
Our pleasure.
So,
And I guess we're going to go to a short break and we'll come to continue the breakfast show, so stay with us.
okay then.